What is up, you guys? I hope you're doing well. We're here for our manifestation oracle message. I didn't get to film before work today, but I was editing and uploading. Actually, I'm finished editing, but I've been uploading the 2026 prediction series, guys. I'm so excited. So I've been typing in all of our workshop, food for thought and the journal prompts and all of those things, and then uploading them as I go. And so I've got April finished. I'm up till April, so I just have to finish the questions. They're written, they just have to be typed for May through December, and then it'll be listed. So I'm really hoping that I will be able to get the playlist uploaded into its completion tomorrow. And then I work tomorrow night. It's New Year's Eve at the restaurant, well, all over the world, but at the restaurant we have to go in a bit early. We're going to be there a bit later tomorrow night. So I probably, if I can film before work, I will. You guys might not see me tomorrow night, but I'm hoping that I can finish the cover art New Year's Day and get it listed in the shop and get it out for you guys to have it for January for New Year's. So, man, I wish I could have started on it earlier, but Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot happened, and then I started filming, and then it just, everything, it takes a while. So I'm going to have it up soon. So be on the lookout. Our first card out is Winged Wise Ones. This is a popular card for us from this deck. This comes out a lot. We have Angelic Help and Miraculous Aid. So hopefully the angels will help me type really fast tomorrow, and maybe I can get things uploaded sooner rather than later. But I think, we've had a lot of cards recently talking about paying attention to synchronicities and signs and messages from spirit that are presenting themselves to us. And sometimes if our consciousness isn't ready to receive something, it'll be like we won't even notice the messages that keep presenting themselves until our soul or our consciousness is ready to take that lesson on and take it in. And then it's like the message is like, oh wow, it's so obvious, it's been here in front of my face the whole time. But is there something like that maybe that you've got like messages coming to you that you've maybe taken for granted or not noticed, or they've just been like so present that they didn't grab your attention, right? Sometimes we're so used to seeing things in our space that they don't pop out. So there might be a message coming for you. And two, I would just say that the angels and like divine intervention doesn't really happen unless it's absolutely necessary, unless we ask for it. So in order to get help from your angels and help from spirit, there is no coercion in spirituality. So the Creator respects our free will. So any spiritual help that we have from the upper realms has to kind of wait for us to ask for that help or invite it in or be open to it, unless it's something that's going to be something that needs like a divine intervention that will change the trajectory of our whole lives. But otherwise we have to involve that help. So I don't know. I think it's never, we can never pray too much, having a prayer practice, and you don't have to be super formal about it, but you can just keep your consciousness, checking in with the Creator through the day, like taking advantage of that assistance, that help, that guidance, that presence. And it's like when you have that, when you're making that effort to connect with that energy is always available to you. But you shelter yourself in the realm of like blessing and protection, the more that you do it. And especially if you're like speaking out loud, to the Creator, and you're using your words, that's even more powerful. So we have angelic help and miraculous aid. And I love it too, because this is, I think we're in day 9, if I'm not mistaken, of the solstice. And yesterday when I was thinking, oh, we're on day 8 of the wish burning, I was thinking when we talk about 8 and spirituality, especially where it's brought up in the Torah, it's a symbol or a code for being in the realm of the miraculous, right? The world of creation, the material world, was created in 7 days. So when we see the 7, that can mean a lot of things in spirituality, but it talks about the realm of nature, the natural realm. And when you go to the number 8, you're going above nature, going to the supernatural, the realm of miracles. So we are in the miracle zone because we've passed the miracles, like the 8th day of miracles yesterday. We're in the 9th day now. If you're burning your wishes, my wish yesterday really went up in flames, and some of them have smoldered more slowly. So I kind of wonder what that wish was. Oh, we have Wise Woman of the Wonderland. So funny. This is like the culmination of the cards that we've had recently. This card came out recently too. Integrity and compromise. So one of the things that can reveal a miracle this time of year, and this is what I was getting into, is that whether or not you're looking at the winter holy holidays, as I've been referring to them, which is like, for me, it's been, I've been observing Hanukkah, Advent leading up to Christmas, the 12 days of Christmas, the 13-day Feast of the Goddess that starts on solstice, so it overlaps. And the idea of all of these holy holidays during Christmas, during the dark time of year, the solstice, is to be in the darkness and embrace it and fortify ourselves within it and let it do its work. And that the darkness, often the cold winter season, it exposes our weaknesses, right? And sometimes it shows us where we have sadness, where we have unforgiveness or grudges, where we have things in our life that we need to clean up. The holidays and the end of the year, they bring up a lot of reflection and self-inventory, and we think about where we want to be and where we might not be, and all of those things. And so, it gives us time, it gives us an opportunity, rather, we have to make the time to go inward and allow for that change to come. Right? Like sometimes it's the dark times where we feel low and we feel that exposure and that vulnerability that give us the desire, that awaken the desire that's strong enough to make us finally want to do what we need to do to make the change, right? And so it's like during these weeks, there's this like opening in the cosmic windows that allows us to awaken these miracles and draw these miracles in, but it's like on the other side of healing and self-sacrifice and change and transformation and growth. It's like what we give in, we get back. And when we forgive something that was difficult to forgive, or we are sharing in a moment where we initially wanted to self-preserve, watch out for the self, save everything, keep for the self because times are getting thin. It's like if we can go against that instinct and open up and share and heal and offer an olive branch, choose compassion, choose mercy, choose forgiveness. That reveals the miracle. And it doesn't always mean that miracle is going to look like it's totally directly connected to the other thing, right? Sometimes the effort that we put in one area actually generates energy that has a positive effect on other areas of our life as well. So integrity and compromise. So leaning in and erring on the side of compassion, understanding, showing up and being true to yourself, right? Not doing something that's not like right now, stand by your scruples, right? Because if you're wanting to reveal miracles, but then you're not acting in alignment, then everything inside of you is all out of whack, right? When we want to be in alignment, our thoughts and our feelings and the desires of our soul and the direction of our spirit, it's like it kind of needs to be in sync. And we know when we're doing something that's not in integrity for us, right? When we're in integrity, that means that like it's all lining up inside, right? Our conscience is clear. We're going in a direction that we believe in, that we feel called to. We're standing by our scruples. We've got ethics and morals. And we're not turning our back on what we believe in, right? I remember growing up, my parents, I remember them telling us, like, even if you have a pastor that's telling you, or a teacher, somebody that's an authority figure that's telling you to do something that you know is wrong, you say no. And it's weird because now a lot of the people that taught us those things are kind of blindly following authority without asking, hey, is this in integrity to go along with this? So I think that sometimes it's about going back to basics and remembering those lessons that we learned as little children, right? If you are feeling uncomfortable about something, or it's not sitting well with you, then don't force yourself to do it. Because when we do things that are out of alignment, it has a domino effect in the rest of our life too. And it creates chaos and it creates dissonance. And then things kind of just start coming apart. And I had this vision today about like the seat of the, like it was like people talk about, like Gary Zukav talks about the seat of the soul. And there's so much imagery in the Bible about being seated in the throne room, taking the seat in the throne room. And I finally, like, it just hit me, this visual. I could imagine that when I was in alignment, it's like my spirit is like solid in one space. And it's like I saw like a royal person sitting on their throne, like the spirit self. And then, like, it's almost like the throne is, like, encompassed by the whole body and the whole soul and the mind, right? It's all in one. And it's like when the soul can sit in this container of the throne, it's like everything's in alignment. And like, the soul can fully come into the body and reveal the greatest light. When we're going through life, we have our soul around us, and we have some of our soul inside of us, but the light that's of our soul that's inside of us is a different quality of light than the light of the soul that's outside of us, right? So the light that's in us is the light that we have revealed through our tikkun correction and through our growth and through our awakening and our healing. And the light of our soul that's outside of us is the light that's putting pressure on us, and that's the part of that's the light that's like creating situations in our life that are trying to evolve us. It's called the surrounding light, but it's that light that creates pressure for you to grow. And the light inside that you already have, that's the light that's revealing miracles. That's the light that's protecting you. That's the light that's been integrated. So when you see the visual, when you think of that visual as like the nukva, the upper part of the soul taking its seat on the throne, it's kind of like I get the visual of that light, of that soul, of the self finally getting to be at home within the self, finally having enough resonance to be able to vibrationally come in and be one and unified with all the pieces of the self, with the upper, with the higher soul, with the lower soul, with the conscious personality, with the subconscious, with the spirit, with the mind. Like, it all comes together in that holy sacred union where we're no longer fragmented and separated, right? This applies too with each other, but like everything that every cosmic truth is demonstrated at the the macro levels, and they go down into these micro levels, right? And like all of nature is kind of mirroring these same truths in these different symbolic and literal ways. So, as we become more divided with each other, then we cut ourselves off from our blessings. But when we become more unified with each other, we create blessings, we unify with blessings and protection. So too, within ourselves, when we're fragmented and we have heartbreaks and personality, like gaps in our personality, and we harbor judgments and things that are deeply buried in our subconscious that are kind of like running the show, right? We're all fragmented. And then as we heal and we bring those parts of the self back into wholeness, it's like we have these epiphanies and these revelations, and we put these pieces together, and we heal these parts of ourselves, and we reintegrate them, and we become whole again. And so as we become whole again, right, we bear more affinity with the light of the Creator, because the light of the Creator is whole, right? So in order to have the throne prepared in vibrational resonance with the soul to come in and sit down, it's like everything has to be in alignment, everything has to be in integrity. But when that happens, it's like then we become like the Christ. We become these miracle workers, right? Healing can become instantaneous. Miracles can be instantaneous when we have the full light of our soul within us working and operating. Ooh, camel boy. Small steps and asking for help. So we have, again, emphasizing we need to ask our angels and our spirit guides and our spirit support team for help from the upper realms, but we can also ask for help in life from the people around us. Like I'm lucky to work with a lot of different people that have a lot of creative skills, and we're all interested in a lot of different things, but a lot of similar things. And so we can, shop talk and swap notes on things a lot at work, and having conversations and opening up and talking about things with people leads to solutions and help and advice and insight. So don't be afraid don't be overwhelmed and feel frozen and stuck. Start taking steps. There is a lot of potential in the year to come, but it is not going to fall in your lap. It is going to be hard won through focus and intention and discipline. And so it's better to start now in small steps where we can take these sustainable steps through January and build a little bit of momentum into February and just keep on going. But when we're like, oh, I'm so burnt out, I want to rot away, like the days and the weeks add up, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, springtime's here. I want, things to be taking off, but you didn't do the work when the work time was, when the time was right for that season, right? You didn't plant the seeds during planting time. So we need to, I know like New Year's Eve, January. I like to take January as like a slow incubating month, but I still get work done in January. It's just that the things that I work on in January are usually like I intentionally use the quiet, stillness, use the time for rest, but I do usually use it to incubate new creativity and start to get the pieces rolling and moving in that direction, because come springtime, the energy, and the season will kind of pick things up and pick up your efforts and like bring it into fruition. But we have to be working on it in the meantime. So if you need help, ask for help, look for, teachers online, talk to people around you. You never know who has a resource that you may not expect, or they might know someone who knows something. And the cosmos, creativity and vastness. I love this. This is like just more emphasis on the fact that this year to come has vast, open expanses of potential and possibility. But it really is going to come down to like how we show up in our day to day. It's really easy to lose your focus and then get sidetracked. And it's like, if you can be intentional and disciplined and very like on purpose with your hours and minutes and days, then you will see the benefit. But I think that this year, I think that we will have a tendency to get distracted. Like 2025 has been such a year of overwhelm, distraction, shock, awe, trauma, coming to terms, grief, like all of it's been so much. And so kind of like coming out of that, yeah, we do kind of feel like a little bit like, wow, I need to get my bearings, but we don't want to stay in a state of like inactivity for too long, or stagnancy, or falling into despair. I think that when we get motivated and we get moving, I think that's going to really start to stoke the fires within and bring us back some chutzpah, some moxie, a little bit of vitality even. But I think that this year has a lot of potential in it. It's just that we've got to make something with it. But I think that the cosmos, they're going to lend us that help if we help ourselves and if we ask for help from both our angelic support and our friendly support. So let's review. We've got winged wise ones, angelic help, and miraculous aid. So say your prayers out loud. That's very, very powerful to do that. Not just to say them in your head, but to use your voice and your words. Because that is a trait that we, like no other living kingdom on earth, has in common with the Creator. The ability to speak and to speak something into being. Then we had wise woman of the Wonderland. But it's not in focus. Very, very out of focus. There she is. And that is integrity and compromise. So when you compromise, going back to like leaning in with people, for choosing forgiveness, choosing mercy, choosing compassion, but you don't want to compromise your values or your own morals. You don't want to compromise yourself. That's part of that integrity. So in that sense, you want to be careful about where you're making your compromises, and have integrity, but also like where you have opportunities to make peace with others. You don't have to pretend like you agree with them. For instance, if you have a major disagreement on an issue that you think is really important, you can honor the fact that they have the right to their point of view, and that so do you. And you can love someone even if they're wrong, and even if they are on the wrong side, and even if you don't agree with them, right? So there is that way where you can compromise. Like if you're having a hard time with your parents, right, and you butt heads about something, but you want to have some sort of peace with them because they're your parents, right? And when we can heal those relationships, it makes a positive impact in our life. But maybe you're feeling it's difficult to do because you don't want to compromise yourself or your values or be dishonest, and so there might be some work to unpack around how you might approach that in an honest way, in a loving way, in a way that brings unity and love, but also still holds space for disagreement. And like my Kabbalah teacher recently, because this kind of came up, this specific kind of issue, it's like, what do you do when there's major disagreements about things where you're like, this is like a deep moral issue and I see this as wrong and that person's not seeing this, and you're trying to allow them their point of view and they're not hearing you, and it's just becoming like a huge conflict and a huge divisive thing. They were saying that you have the option of just being quiet and listening. And you don't have to agree, and you don't have to pretend to agree. But you don't have to argue with someone who's not open to listening to you. It's not your job to change their entire philosophy or to save them, even though sometimes it feels that way. But we can't. It's not our place. Now, it doesn't also mean that we need to be lazy and avoidant and like, oh, well, I guess I'll stay out of it then. It's easier just not say anything at all. That's not it either. So it's like a tightrope walk sometimes, being able to, or having the like carrying the responsibility of feeling like you have to speak up for what's right in certain scenarios, and then hold your tongue in other scenarios, and when that's going to be impactful and when it's not, when it's going to actually cause, more damage, right? It does involve discernment, but we can't just be quiet and not speak up. But then it kind of ties into your tikkun. If speaking up comes easily and you're always the one that wants to pop off, then, the tikkun correction might be to learn restraint and to learn better ways to communicate your message more compellingly in a way that's respectful to others, even when you perceive them as wrong. But it allows for everyone to have their own opinion, because this is where this topic was coming from. It's these rabbis were talking about how true wisdom can't be revealed without disagreements, and even people bringing up their point of view, even when it's even valuable for people to bring up their wrong point of view, because if someone doesn't voice their wrongness or their opinion that's like misguided, then it will never be addressed, and they'll just secretly go around with this misguided belief, right? But when that misguided belief comes out in the open, other people can weigh in. You can have a more multifaceted understanding of something when people can have discussion and talk about it. Even if they're arguing, you can argue in a constructive way that is respectful and honors everyone's dignity, to have their own say, to have their own point of view. Like when people feel safe to have their own point of view and they don't feel judged or belittled or attacked, even if they're wrong, it lowers their defense mechanisms and opens people up to actually listen and have a productive discussion. Whereas if they feel like you are shutting them down and you're not going to let them talk or speak, and they're already on the defense, they're already closed off, they're already closed down. So if people feel that they're not going to be attacked and that they have space to say their piece, then sometimes that lays the groundwork for them to feel safe enough to start dropping their guard, to hear maybe another side of something that they haven't considered. Whereas if they feel attacked, judged on the spot, rejected, then they're going to be defensive and on the offense, right? That makes sense. So we have wise woman of the wonder world, integrity and compromise. We have the camel boy, small steps and asking for help. So slow and steady wins the race. We're going to take sustainable, slow action steps, set up our routines for success, set ourselves up in the right direction. Don't overwhelm yourself. Just do little bits towards what you want and gradually add that momentum, right? You don't have to build Rome in a day. Do bit by bit by bit, and as you get in the flow, add more, and you'll build momentum. And then cosmos, creativity and vastness. I think that the beginning of this year is really leading us into the beginning of our new story. And we've been in this threshold of this limbo space for the last couple of years, and I feel like we've all just been like waiting for it to start. When is the new series of us going to start, right? It feels like we've been in the prequel or some kind of weird like made for TV movie that's like an hour and a half long, and it was kind of a weird plot, right? But now this year, and many people agree, we're launching, right? This is the beginning. So you know, hopefully you've been thinking about what kind of reality in life you want to create, because you're going to have so much more impact on how things are manifesting going forward. So doing it with intention, and when you do things with gusto, with consciousness behind it, that makes a lot of difference. That adds a lot of magical miracle juice to the sauce. All right, you all, that is all for tonight. If I can tomorrow before work, I will do our video, but if not, I will see y'all on New Year's Day. And keep your eyes peeled for the 2026 prediction series to drop. I will obviously let you guys know in the videos. I might be able to do like a post on YouTube, but the best way to get the fastest like updates is either to sign up for my email list, and it's the link that's in the last show card on the video. I really don't send out newsletters very often. I haven't in a long time, but I'd like to start picking that up again. But the way to stay up to date with me the fastest is Instagram, because I post in stories and things. So as far as the 2026 prediction series, you'll be able to see that in my stories as soon as it's up. The link will be in my bio and both YouTube and Instagram and TikTok, although I haven't been on TikTok much, and Facebook. So all right, you all, that is all for tonight. We'll see you later. Happy New Year if I don't see you before then. Kisses. Ciao.